Just a dozen days away from college basketball season. That's right, folks. Inside 2 weeks away from tip-off, and Big East Shootaround continues the countdown with you live from New York City. I'm John Fanta. Great to be with all of you. And how about this week's news? 7 Big East teams receiving votes in the AP Top 25. That's a statement made by the conference as the Big East is tied for second among all college basketball conferences with the 7 teams receiving votes, 3 of which are in the top 20, Villanova, Seton Hall, and Xavier. In the individual awards column, the Big East boasts 2 All-Americans, starting with Seton Hall's Myles Powell. Powell is the Big East preseason player of the year, and now he's on the AP All-America team. Averaging over 23 points per game last season for the Pirates, he becomes Seton Hall's first preseason All-American in program history. That's right. In over 100 years of Seton Hall basketball, they've never had a preseason All-American. The Trenton native changed that when he was named to the AP All-America team earlier this week. And on top of Powell, you have the reigning Big East Player of the Year in Marcus Howard, who joins him on the All-America team. Howard averaging over 25 points per game last season. He could become the Big East all-time leading scorer in conference play this year. Marcus Howard knows that this Marquette program needs to make an NCAA tournament run, because he said earlier this preseason that's what he has left to do. Howard has garnered every individual accolade you could think of in his first 3 seasons. The one thing he has left is to make his mark in March. And Howard joining Powell earlier this week on the AP preseason All-America team, the Big East with 2 of the 5 honorees, as those 2 join Michigan State's Cassius Winston, Louisville's Jordan Nwora, as well as Memphis star freshman James Wiseman. Pretty outstanding, if I do say so myself, with those 2 players getting that recognition. We've got plenty coming up on today's show. We'll open the Big East Hoops mailbox, so your questions will be coming in, as well as DePaul freshman Romeo Weems. He will make a high impact for Dave Lato's Blue Demons, and we'll get to know him on the show. We lead off with the Providence Friars, a program that had gone to 5 consecutive NCAA tournaments, fell just short a season ago, and Ed Cooley has that up in the wall on the locker room for his Friars this season as they try to bounce back and return to the big dance. Here's my exclusive conversation with the Friars' 9th-year head coach. It's year number 9 here at Providence College for Ed Cooley, and we're previewing the 2019-20 season. Ed, first off, when you think about your journey here, where this program stands, when you came in to this program, how much did you think what's behind us here was a possibility in Friartown?
Well, the possibility was there. Bob Driscoll, our athletic director, Brian Shanley, our president, we always had the conversation of possibility, and this was one of the possibilities, and, we're now living that dream. This is just right today. What's the next possible dream? What's the next possibility? So, you're always moving forward, but where we stand today, I'm very excited about where we're at. I'm very excited about where our program is at, and we're very excited about the upcoming Big East season.
Let's look at this team, and you're led by senior and all Big East preseason first-team selection in Alpha Diallo. What have you seen in him throughout his career?
Alpha has really grown. He's grown in many ways, off the court, on the court. Alpha will graduate. Alpha has versatility, probably much greater than anyone in the league. I think he can play 5 positions. I think he can dominate the game defensively as well as offensively. We need to make sure that we have enough team success for him to be mentioned as a Player of the Year candidate, because at the end of the day, he's going to be right there. And we have some great players in our league, led by Myles Powell, Marcus Howard. I think LeBlanc from Georgetown is really, really good. Mustafa Heron from St. John's, very, very good. You have Najee Marshall. There's so many really, really good players in our league. But I think Alpha's right up there when you talk about the Big East. Alpha's name will be thrown in there with the top players.
When you talk about that team success, how it can breed individual success, what are the things that need to happen on the court for this team to flip the script this season?
Well, the first thing we've got to be able to do is put the ball in the basket. We really struggled to score last year. We struggled to shoot from downtown consistent enough to, open up the interior for Nate and Alpha and our other interior guys to work. We got to score the ball. We got to limit our turnovers, and we got to become a little bit better defensively. We got to take advantage of the numbers game, we call it. Anytime we have an advantage, numbers-wise, offensively, we got to make the opposing team pay for that.
3 Big East teams are in the top 20. You're one of 4, additionally just outside of the AP top 25. So that means 7 of the 10 teams in this league are receiving votes. How do you navigate your way through this league?
That's going to be the fun part about this year. Last year we were very young. This year the league returns a lot of starters, some newcomers that'll help. So night in and night out in the Big East, it's going to be tough.
Over 30 starters back in the Big East heading into this season. You just heard Ed Cooley, night in and night out, it's going to be tough. And when you play a round-robin schedule, which means you've got to go to their place, they'll come back to yours, there are no off nights in the Big East. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with your questions coming up on the show. We'll open up the Big East mailbox, and we'll have DePaul freshman Romeo Weems coming up as well. Providence, a team that will look to respond. So will the Butler Bulldogs. They missed the NCAA tournament last season, but they bring back a preseason award winner in Kamar Baldwin, who embarks on his senior season. The key question for Butler, who is going to accompany Baldwin, who averaged nearly 20 points per game throughout Big East play last year? We talk with Laval Jordan and the Dogs and went inside a Butler Bulldogs practice. When you're thinking about impact transfers around the Big East Conference, this guy will come to mind. It's Bryce Enzi, the Milwaukee transfer who sat out last year, now ready to leave his mark for the Dogs. Bryce, what do you give this Butler program?
I think I just give the team a lot of energy. The program itself, I give what it's known for. It's grittiness, it's toughness, and just will to win. I feel like I come to a strong team, and I can contribute to the team this year, help them win.
You've been through 2 years in this conference. You've gone through that 18-game Big East grind. What's the key to coaching in this league?
You better be tough. You better be tough. You better have a, like I said, it's a night in, night out, no days off. I'll go to bat with anybody in the country saying the Big East is top to bottom, the best league around. There's really good coaches. They got so much respect for every coach in our conference, and so it forces you to to raise your level. It forces our players to be at full attention, and it's a great thing. Like each of the programs in our league push each other in every single way, and I'm looking forward to getting to that point this year. We're not ready for it yet. But looking forward to, always looking forward to competing in the Big East.
Kamar Baldwin last year averages 19 points per game in Big East play. So he's already been able to rack up a lot of different accolades here as a Butler Bulldog. In his senior season, what else can he do?
Win. That's his, that's what he's locked in on. I think his ability is documented. He's a special player. He's a special person, and it starts in there. But I think his leadership, he's taken a big step in terms of the senior leadership over the summer. Really growing and really confident right now in his ability as a leader, and just having a will about him, like a senior should. I know that he got a bad taste in his mouth. He and Sean McDermott, Henry Ballard, the guys that are seniors that have been here and that had experienced tournament success for a couple years there. So they're hungry. Now it's about pulling the group and leading the group and them holding themselves accountable first and foremost.
You just gotta know, when your team needs you, when you have to step out and, go score, if the team needs you to do that or whatever the team needs me to do. But at the end of the day, it's a team game, so us playing together as 5 instead of 1 is gonna be more beneficial.
What would you say is the key for this group to maximizing their potential?
I'll just say responding to adversity, just helping each other out, when things do get hard, whether it's in practice, games, or, whatever it is, just helping each other get through it, because that's what it's all about.
How much do you sit late at night thinking of that vision of your first game inside Hinkle Fieldhouse?
Think about it all the time, because there's so many people. No matter what type of game it is, who we play, it's going to be crowded, and I love it. I can't wait to play.
To have the opportunity as well to compete in the NCAA tournament, because that's the standard for this Butler program. What's that do for your confidence?
I mean, you can't really put anything on that. To be able to just get a chance to play for the NCAA tournament, I mean, that's what a lot of people come to college basketball for. And compete for a tournament or a championship. Just can't wait to do that.
What have you heard about playing in the Big East?
What I've heard, it's going to be tough. Every game's tough. There's no easy nights. I've seen there's no easy nights, and it's pretty aggressive, so I like that.
You talk about you want to go as far as this group can possibly go. How much does it come to mind? This is your final year at Butler, to end on the high note of getting back to the big dance.
I would just, like I said, just maximize our potential. Just go as far as we can. If we make it, that's obviously the goal. And we're going to try and get there. But like I said, just having fun and just going as far as we can with this group. I'll be good with that.
Kamar Baldwin, best of luck this year.
Thank you.
Kamar Baldwin, one of 20 in America named to the Jerry West Award watch list given to the nation's top shooting guard. That said, Baldwin does a little bit of everything for the Dogs in the backcourt. You'll see him carried up the floor as the point guard. He has the skill set to both score and distribute. And the key question will be, who can accompany him? Bryce Enzi, the transfer from Milwaukee, could be a prime candidate. Laval Jordan, he coached Enzi as a freshman, and this is a player who they believe can provide them the physical presence that they lacked at times last year. So keep an eye out for Enzi this season. It's time for the mailbag. Let's open it up here. Your questions and all of my responses here to come. Lay it on me. Let's go with our first question here. What do we got? It's from Pedro, who says, who's your dark horse to win the Big East regular season, to win the Player of the Year, and then the player no one is talking about now who has a breakout season? Wow, Pedro coming in hot. Dark horse to win the regular season, I would say the Providence Friars. Why? Because they returned virtually all their major contributors from last season. They lost Isaiah Jackson. That said, you've got David Duke and A.J. Reeves back, and they expect to take a leap from freshman to sophomore year. The biggest variable for Providence is Lawan Pipkins, the UMass transfer. When you talk to people around the Friars, they say, how good is he going to be? If they're as good as they think he could be, and if his knee can stay healthy, because that's held him out of segments of preseason practice, then Pipkins in the backcourt leading the way, facilitating for two playmakers in Reeves and Duke. And we can't forget Alpha Diallo, who can be a Big East Player of the Year dark horse. All those things align for Providence to return to the NCAA tournament. Let's look at the Player of the Year, potentially, that people aren't talking about. How about Najee Marshall of Xavier? It's the Musketeers program that's picked in the top 3 of the Big East, and Marshall is just a stud junior at 6'7". He knows how to get into the lane. Travis Steele told me earlier this preseason he defends as well as anybody in the country. And think about his size, the ball handling ability, the ability to stroke it from the perimeter. Najee Marshall has every tool in the toolbox, and that's why he's a Big East Player of the Year dark horse, because this Xavier team won 8 of their final 11 games last year, and they believe that that was the start of this season. Who's leading them? Najee Marshall. And if Xavier's at the top of the Big East at the end of the season, we know team success breeds individual success. That's why Marshall is a prime candidate. Finally, the player no one is talking about, Mitch Ballock of Creighton. Hit over 95 three-pointers last season and has flat-out range. On top of that, Greg McDermott calls him a coach on the floor. The IQ is off the charts for the junior, and I just love what he does within a game. He plays within himself. He's a leader in many ways, and the way that him and Tyshawn Alexander can stroke it from deep, two guys who made 95-plus threes last year, that really stands out. The key for Creighton, Marcus Zagorowski's health, the sophomore returns. He'll be a point guard that can facilitate to those two, and that's why BALLOCK is a player not enough people are talking about. Mailbox question number 2. This comes from Terry. Which Big East team seems most eager to get the season started? Well, Terry, I see you got a Friar on your basketball. I know you're eager for Providence to start the season, but I'm going to say Xavier. Why? Because they won 8 in their final 11 last year, and they didn't believe that they were at their full selves early in the season. They were a lot of moving pieces and parts. Travis Steele said earlier this preseason he didn't feel like they became a team until February when they reeled off that stretch. For Xavier, you've got Najee Marshall, you've got Tyreek Jones inside, Paul Scruggs is back. They have a top 25 recruiting class in the country, according to 24/7 Sports. When you combine the experience and the youth of this program, that says to me they're excited for this season because they don't believe that the NIT berth was the true result for how good they could have been last season. They're ready to start 2019-20. Finally, who are we sleeping on is what I hear is the final question. This comes from Jasmine. Thanks for chiming in. Potential sleeper teams. If I had to pick one, I would go with the team picked 10th in the Big East, DePaul. And you might be saying, who are they going to replace? And that's always the tough thing in the conference standings, because if you're going to make a move up, it means that you're replacing teams who have been solid in their positions. But here's why DePaul's a bit of a sleeper heading into this year. They have a 7 to 8 man rotation that can compete consistently in the Big East Conference, provided they stay healthy. You have Paul Reed, as you watch him lay that in, who averaged 13 and 9 last season for these Blue Demons. So he's right around a double-double. And now the junior comes back for them. You bring in a Kansas transfer in Charlie Moore, who was formerly a Pac-12 all-freshman when he was at Cal. So you've got a legit point guard, you have a post presence in Reed, and around those two, they've got several impact players like Jalen Coleman-Lands, the sharpshooter, like Jalen Butts, who's a post who can bounce off a Reed. I think that DePaul's best offense could come just off offensive rebounds. They will be a handful inside with Reed leading the way. Speaking of the Blue Demons, we didn't talk about Romeo Weems, a Mr. Michigan in the state. He's the best player out of Michigan. First time for DePaul that they bring in a recruit like that since Wilson Chandler. Weems is excited about the potential of this program, and we caught up with him earlier this preseason. There's a new kid on the block here in Chicago, and he is ready to make noise as a freshman in the Big East. It's DePaul's Romeo Weems, Mr. Basketball in Michigan. First time that an incoming freshman has been that for the Blue Demons since Wilson Chandler in 2005. Romeo, why did you come to DePaul to play college basketball?
Just felt comfortable. I just like the atmosphere. Great relationship with my coaches. I also wanted to show all the kids that look up to me, you know, you can go anywhere and become a good player, a great player. You don't really got to go to the blue blood schools, Duke, Kentucky, all that. You don't really got to go there to be a good player. You just got to put in the work and go hard.
How much do you cherish the opportunity coming into this program, knowing that you're in the Big East and there can be a turnaround that can happen here that could really be special because the program has been through an NCAA tournament drought?
Yeah, I just play my role, you know. I don't try to do too much, try to go out there, and if we lose, get down because of expectations. Just play my game. Everybody just keep getting in the gym, getting better, and we're just going to keep try to win, try to make the tournament, and just play games, play basketball.
How dangerous can this DePaul team be inside?
We can be very dangerous. If everybody play their role, don't try to do too much, just go hard every loose ball, try to get every rebound, just dive on the floor, everything. We can be real dangerous.
It's a dunk party inside that gym during your workout sessions. Who would win the dunk contest on this team?
I say I win the dunk contest. I give myself that one. Yeah.
Paul Reed's not available for comment right now, so.
No, we got some dunkers though. P a dunker, Day a dunker. We got Big Nick just came. He a good dunker. So I don't know. I got some bounce in me.
Finally, what is your preseason message to DePaul fans who are awaiting this 2019-20 season?
Just come out, support, have our backs. You know, we're gonna go through some ups and downs. Everybody do that. Just stay with us, ride with us. We're gonna get to the finish line.
Romeo Weems, welcome to the Big East.
Thank you.
Romeo Weems has a vibrant personality, and he'll have a vibrant presence on the floor. At 6'7", he'll play the wing for this DePaul team. He actually played power forward in high school, but loves the potential of being able to play the three for Dave Lato. And when you think about his ball handling capabilities and the perimeter threat that he can pose, that says some good things about what Weems can do for this program. It will be fascinating to see what kind of immediate impact the freshman brings to the table. Coming up next week on the show, we'll look at St. John's, Georgetown, and Creighton as the season is just 12 days away. Folks, the excitement off the charts, and in this conference, all the preseason accolades and rankings that are coming in would say that the Big East is in for a monster 2019-20 season. We'll keep counting down with you next week, Thursday, 3 Eastern Time, right here on Big East Shootaround. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your weekend as Big East Hoops is just around the corner.